Hi trainers! How's it going? Trainer Teets here, and today we'll be going through the top 5 beginner mistakes for Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Unite is a free-to-play, multiplayer, online battle arena, MOBA for short. Pokemon Unite is set to release in July for Switch and September for mobile. I'm Teets, I've played MOBAs for over 9 years, and my goal is to help you become the very best in Pokemon Unite. As a player in the open beta, I saw many mistakes that were made by new players, and that's fair. They're new, they're learning the game, so I wanted to make this video to help beginners or even players who just want to know what mistakes they can avoid. So with that, let's jump right into it. Number 1, holding AEOS energy points. AEOS energy points is what you and your team will be gathering throughout the game. It's like these little yellow Pokeballs on the ground or on wild Pokemon. You will also get them from defeating enemy players. The team with the most AEOS energy collected will win. A huge gigantic mistake I see a lot of new players doing during the open beta is holding on to the points. There is a maximum limit to how many points you can hold, and I believe the amount you can hold depends on what stage you are in the game. You can see how many your allies are holding next to the health bar or when they have the maximum amount. When they are holding the maximum amount, it will show up on your minimap. I had a Pikachu in one of my gameplays who held onto 50 AEOS energy points. That's the maximum you can hold, and didn't try to put it into the enemy goal zones at all. I would have communicated this, but I didn't know how to use it because it was all in Japanese. We ended up losing, and that was partly because allies were holding onto the points that we needed to win. And of course, that is fine, but that is just a big mistake that you can avoid, and that is holding onto too many AEOS energy points. The solution to this is to try and make your way safely to the enemy goal zone with your team. When you're holding that many, you will become a target to the enemy team as well because they will try to steal it from you and prevent you from scoring. Another reason why holding onto too many AEOS energy points is not ideal is because you won't be able to collect any when you have points held. And in the grand scheme of things, you'll end up using more time just trying to collect more instead of picking up the ones you could have easily collected. So yeah, basically just don't hold on to too many, try to score when you can, and your team should be good on AEOS energy. On to number 2, fighting under enemy goal zones. This mistake was made by both my allies and my enemies. So goal zones will heal the Pokemon it belongs to. Basically, enemy goal zones will heal enemies, and your goal zones will heal you and your allies. The heal is really minor, but it does give an advantage. You will have to have more damage output if you are fighting under their goal zone. It's not something you have to 100% avoid because sometimes you can deal enough damage or you are just in better place in terms of health and cooldowns compared to your opponent. So you don't have to 100% not fight in a goal zone, but you do have to know when it is the right time to do so. If they are incredibly low, you have a better chance of defeating them, but if the fight is dragging out for way too long and you're losing health, you should just retreat. I have won a lot of fights of enemies diving me in my goal zone, and it is rough, it really is. I have also tried to defeat them in their goal zones, and I did win some, but I also had to retreat from them as well because sometimes that goal zone heal is too strong, even if it's minor. Basically, know when to retreat and know when to commit when fighting in goal zones. If you don't know when to do that, a good rule of thumb to go by if you are diving their goal zone, if it takes too long to take them out and you're losing health, I would just leave. The game sense in this specific thing will come to you over time though, so don't worry too much as a beginner. Number 3, ignoring your mini-map. Mini-map in every MOBA I've ever played is super duper important. As far as I know, Pokemon Unite does not have any vision or wards, which are items or consumables that you can use in other MOBAs to have vision on a specific part of the map without you physically being there. On the minimap, you'll be able to see enemy positions from you and your allies. If an enemy is not on the minimap, you and your allies likely do not have vision of that enemy. This is a great way to check which enemy is where. If they're not there, it means you could be in danger because they could be walking over to you to attack. Seeing the enemy is really important, but it's also important to know where your allies are, which will also be shown on the minimap. Knowing where your allies are will help you decide on what fights you and your team want to take, or where you want to go, or what goals you want to focus on. Having vision of enemies and allies help you decide on what your next move is, and that could either be attacking a legendary, an enemy goal zone, a specific enemy, or defending your goal zones. In conclusion, the minimap is very important. It can literally save you and your allies. Number 4, fighting instead of farming, farming instead of fighting. So this one is really important as well, and to be fair, I found that a lot of players were fighting instead of farming more than the other, but it can happen both ways. I totally understand why you would want to just run at enemies all the time and constantly fight them. It feels really nice, it's super fun, but a very important aspect to Pokemon Unite is the farm as well. Farming in Pokemon Unite is clearing wild Pokemon. Wild Pokemon are what give you AEOS energy points, which are very important for scoring. But not only that, it also gives you experience points, which will help you level up. Everyone on your team and everyone on the enemy team will start at level 1. The more wild Pokemon you defeat, the more experience points you'll get. You'll also get experience points from defeating enemy Pokemon, but a sure and safe way to gain XP is from the wild Pokemon. Defenders and supporters generally will level up slower because as a defender or a supporter, you'll want to let your damaging allies take the wild Pokemon. Defenders and supporters will gain XP from assisting them. Leveling up is very important because this is how your Pokemon will get stronger through stats and move upgrades. Move upgrades are tied to your level and also your evolutions if your Pokemon has any. Basically, as much as you want to just fight, try to spend some time farming as well. Grab any wild Pokemon that are up and close to you, but don't do this if your team is in a fight or the enemy team is pushing your enemy goal zones. There are wrong times to farm as well. But again, this will come to you over time. It's part of a game sense thing, and as a beginner, don't worry too much as long as you have the general idea. And lastly, number 5, and this one is really funny to me, and that is not checking bushes. The reason why it's funny to me is because I actually got away from enemies hiding in the bushes, and the way it happened has never ever happened to me in any other MOBA. So the long grass on your battlefield will hide you and your enemies. If you walk in there, they cannot see you unless they're very close to you or they're in the grass as well. But in my games, I would go in there and then they would just think I totally vanished and then ignore me even though the players I was against saw me walk in there. Again, it's fine, we're all very new and we're all learning, so I want to help those who don't know what to do in this situation. In League of Legends, Wild Rift and Mobile Legends, which are other MOBAs, the long grass is very important. You can surprise enemies from there because they won't be able to see you. So if you're fighting someone and you're winning, but they run into the grass, chase them. Go in the grass, get them out of there, you can still win that. But if you're not fighting and you want to play it safe, if you have a Pokemon who has long-ranged moves or a tanky Pokemon, they can just throw one of their moves in there and it will tell you if the enemy is in the grass. So yeah, check the grass or chase the enemy in the grass, they're still there. And I think that is all for the top 5 beginner mistakes. There are some more, minor ones maybe, but if there are any more that you would like to add, feel free to comment them down below. I also made a beginner guide which I will link down below here as well. It's got a lot of good feedback and I'm overwhelmed by how many players it has helped, and I cannot thank you trainers enough for supporting me. Really, it feels like a dream come true. It feels like we have this great community and I'm so happy you're a part of it. Subscribe and click the bell for more Pokemon Unite guides, news and gameplays. Like the video if you found this helpful, and thank you so much for watching, trainers. Bye!